Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for Week 5 of the 2016 NFL season. Well, let me get started. I call this the toilet bowl game. I'm going to take San Francisco at home against the Arizona Cardinals. It looks like San Francisco, they may have Navarro Bowman out, and I understand they haven't been playing that well as late. They got off to a good win to start the season. They won 28-0 in that game. But I think as far as this game goes, I do like them. The quarterback is adequate for San Francisco. Arizona looks like Carson Palmer is going to likely miss this game, and I think that's advantage San Francisco. I expect them in this game to basically just play well enough to win. I don't really see them doing anything outstanding or phenomenal in this game. I think as far as this game goes, it's really just on virtue of home field advantage, and that's why I do like the 49ers in this one. Now, the next game might actually be a little bit more interesting and intriguing than a lot of people think. I'm going to take New England on the road to defeat the Cleveland Browns. And New England right now, they have dominated the series in recent time versus Cleveland. They have won 5 of the last 6. And their run defense it's not great, but it's adequate, which I'm going to get to why I'm pointing this out in a minute, is that Cleveland right now, surprisingly, is really bewildering to me. They're number 1 in rushing offense in the NFL. And they actually, the last 2 games they played New England, they played very well. They lost by 1 point in the more recent one. And then they had actually, in the game they played against them prior to that one, they actually beat New England 34-14. And that was the last time it was at Cleveland. And really, Cleveland, this could actually be a little more competitive game than people think. I think with Tom Brady coming back to New England, that's going to really revitalize this team that got shut out last week. I don't expect that to happen in this game. And I think with Tom Brady, I think he was talking about being very motivated. That's not a good sign for the Cleveland Browns, and I do like New England to win this one. I don't think they're going to annihilate Cleveland or blow them up, but I do think they will beat them. So I'm going to take the New England Patriots in this game. Now, the next game, I'm going to take Philadelphia on the road to defeat the Detroit Lions. Now, Philadelphia is one of the better teams as far as time of possession goes. They're number 1 in scoring defense right now. Quarterback Carson Wentz has played a lot better and superseded a lot of expectations. And you look at Detroit Lions, they do have some good players on there. They got Matthew Stafford and wide receiver Marvin Jones, who was number 2 in receiving yards in the league. If they could get going in this game and get going early on and put Philadelphia into some kind of deficit early, they may have a shot to win. Philadelphia is also coming off a bye week, and I think that could fall into Detroit's hands. But I do love Philadelphia right now. They have looked very impressive, and it wasn't just about being the Browns. They did beat Pittsburgh the last time they played them, and really trounced Pittsburgh as well. I think they should be able to beat Detroit. So I like Philadelphia to win this one. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts in this one at home to win. They're really, they're playing the Chicago Bears. This game is really a coin flip. Now, Indianapolis Colts, their offensive line is abysmal, to say the least. They are number 1, I guess you could say number 1 in the NFL in most sacks allowed, so at 15. So they're going to have to give Andrew Luck a little better protection. I know Andrew Luck's taken a lot of heat for things, but it's not entirely his fault. And you look at Chicago, they won last week. Brian Hoyer had a very good game. Can he duplicate it? Chicago hasn't exactly put up an overabundance of points as far as this season goes. If I'm not mistaken, the last 3 games, I don't think they've exceeded 17 points in terms of their offensive production. And to me, with Indianapolis, their offense is a little bit better. I think they're up there in the scoring offense in the NFL. And I do like them being at home to win against the Bears. So I'm taking the Colts at home to win this one. Now the next game. Well, Miami Dolphins, I'm going to take them at home against the Tennessee Titans. Now, Miami, I mean, they have not looked impressive of late. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill and wide receiver Jarvis Landry, they are a good 1-2 combination. They are at home in this game. However, their run defense is something to be desired. And Tennessee does have running back DeMarco Murray, and it wouldn't shock me. I know I predicted this some weeks before that the Titans would finally get a running back that would have at least 100 yards in a game and break that streak. I'm going to say they may very well do it in this one. I don't think they're going to get the win, though. Tennessee, just for whatever reason, and they just have propensity to lose. I think this season, as I've stated previously, they will be better. I predicted they have a 6-10 record. I just don't think they're going to get the second one in this one. I am a Tennessee Titans fan. I do hope I'm wrong in this one. Tennessee is number 4 in rushing yards. So I think the key in this game for them is if they could just be able to ground and pound and control, dominate time possession. DeMarco Murray, if he has a very good game, they could keep Miami's offense off the field as much as possible. And I think that could be the key for the Titans to perhaps win this one. It should be a very tight game. I wouldn't be shocked if the Titans pull this one out, but I do like the Dolphins being at home to win it. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens at home over the Washington Redskins. I always joke about Baltimore and the ravenous defense they have. Well, they are number 2 in total defense and really surreptitiously really have gotten to that point. Now, I know they lost last week to the Oakland Raiders. I don't see Baltimore losing this back-to-back games at home. The Washington Redskins, I know they got quarterback Kirk Cousins, and they got their defensive player, I believe cornerback Josh Norman is very good, and Washington is starting to get their stride right now. They have won the last 2 games. They look like they're starting to pick up the pace, but I just think it's kind of a bad game for them to have to go play at Baltimore after Baltimore just lost a game at home. And Baltimore seems to be very improved this season. Terrell Suggs being back in the lineup for the whole season. And I do like Baltimore to win this one in a tight one. Now the next game. Well, I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings at home over the Houston Texans. I'm becoming a believer in the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they are I believe it's number 1 in turnover differential, plus 10 turnover differential. Of course, they're 4-0, as many of you may know. So they're 17-3 against the spread in the last 20 games. And even though this segment is not based on the spread, as you know, I'm just picking the games outright, win or lose, I still find that a very telling stat. And if they're favored in this game, which I'm sure they will be, there's a good chance they will cover that, and then that means they're going to win. They're going to win the game if they covered. So really, and they're doing this with a very low running attack. They're not, I mean, with no Adrian Peterson. Sam Bradford has played, I think, a lot better than a lot of people anticipated. He's been very efficient. And Houston is without J.J. Watt. I don't know how well Brock Osweiler is going to play in this game, going to play against one of the top defenses in the NFL. This is one of the best defensive start, I believe, in terms of points allowed after 4 games for the Vikings since 1998. So that is very telling. I do like Minnesota to win this one at home. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers to win at home over my New York Jets. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, they got the 3-headed monster with quarterback Ben Roethlisberger, wide receiver Antonio Brown, and running back Le'Veon Bell, who had really a sensational game last game. They really made amends and atonement for the terrible performance they had the week before against the Eagles when they were trounced by them. And really, you look at Pittsburgh right now, I mean, this is a team that is really, I mean, well, to me, they are a Super Bowl contender. I know they lost that game to Philadelphia, but right now, the Steelers, the way they're set, and the team, the personnel they have, I don't see any way that they could lose to the Jets. Now, if you look at the Jets, I mean, I think it's safe to say that the official NFL interception machine, that has to be Ryan Fitzpatrick. He has 13 interceptions in his last 5 regular season games. He threw 3 more last week. He's got 9 total in the last 2. It appears that they're probably going to start Ryan Fitzpatrick. And to me, I mean, the Jets are if I'm not mistaken, they are at the bottom of the barrel in terms of turnover differential. But the one thing they do have going for them is the Jets are number 2 in run defense. And if they could somehow contain a running back of the Steelers, Le'Veon Bell, they may have a shot to win this. But in this particular matchup, I just think that really it's going to really come down to strongly is the Steelers receivers, and especially Antonio Brown. I don't know if maybe Darrelle Revis may be covering him. I just think they're going to win that matchup, and I do see the Steelers winning this game at least decisively. So anyway, now the next game, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos at home to defeat the Atlanta Falcons. Now the status of quarterback Trevor Siemian is questionable right now. I feel he's probably going to play, but this is going to be an interesting game that's going to pit the defense of Denver against the offense of Atlanta. The Atlanta Falcons right now, I mean, you talk about unleashing a great offensive attack. Last week, I think Julio Jones had 300 receiving yards, just a phenomenal performance. They are number 1 in scoring and total offense and also passing offense. So, but I think with the Broncos, and I know they've had a number of games in a row where they've given up 20 or less points, I believe. So, I think this is going to level out. But I do like the Denver being at home, and their defense, I think, will be enough to contain Atlanta in the high-octane offense that they have. I do like Denver to win this one at home in a close game. Now, the next game. Well, the next game, it's going to take the Cincinnati Bengals on the road to defeat the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Cincinnati Bengals right now, okay, with quarterback Andy Dalton and A.J. Green, they played very well last week. It seems like they're finding that stride in their groove right now, and it looked like they really were connecting last week. A.J. Green, I think, had like 173 receiving yards. He had a very good performance. And I like the Bengals, I understand, was the Miami Dolphins they defeated. But this is still a team that I do believe is an upper echelon team in the NFL. And now the Cowboys, we're going to find out maybe if they are for real or not in this game, perhaps. Cowboys are 3-1 right now. But what's happened with the Cowboys is that, okay, running back Ezekiel Elliott, I believe he's leading the NFL in rushing yards right now. But he's got a lot of these yards against run defenses that were not exactly stellar. And they're going to go against a Cincinnati run defense, which is in the middle of the pack, a little bit better than the previous run defenses. They're number 14 in the NFL in run defense. But I do like the Cincinnati Bengals to contain Ezekiel Elliott. I think that'll be enough to get them the victory. Plus, with A.J. Green as the receiver on the Bengals, I think he's going to have a good game. I think the offense is going to be good enough to beat the Dallas Cowboys in this one. Now, I'm going to take the LA Rams at home to defeat the Buffalo Bills. The Los Angeles Rams, well, are they for real? They're 3-1 right now. It's interesting because they were dismantled on the first game of the season, 28-0 by San Francisco. And I'm thinking, okay, we got the same old Rams. I thought there's no chance of them being rejuvenated, being in a new city. That's not going to make any difference. Then what happens? They beat Seattle 9-0. They win their next 2 games. All of a sudden, they're 3-1, and they're sitting atop right now of the NFC West division. I know it's early yet, but they've been very impressive, I think, and they won 3 consecutive games. And really, the thing about it is when the defense does play well, it's exceptionally well. I mean, they have one game when they shut out Seattle, and then the last game against Arizona was decent. And my feeling is being at home in this game against Buffalo, I think the defense is going to play very well. Buffalo does have some swagger and confidence, winning the last 2 games against what seemed to be formidable opponents. I understand the Patriots were without Tom Brady. They had their third string quarterback in, but that was at New England in a still very tough place to win. And they got another win at Arizona. So Buffalo has reason for confidence in this game. I think Los Angeles, though, right now is showing that they may very well be a better team that we have had seen in recent seasons. Maybe there's something about this thing going to Los Angeles that's revitalized them. But whatever it is, I think it has helped them, and I do like the Los Angeles Rams to beat Buffalo in this game. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Oakland Raiders at home over the San Diego Chargers. Now, Oakland right now being 3-1, it's a little bit surprising. I mean, but I like what the quarterback and receiver combination with Carr and what Michael Crabtree have done. Contrary to what Richard Sherman said one time, I do not think Michael Crabtree is a mediocre receiver. I think he is really one of the better receivers, especially when he's on his A game. I do believe he is above average, at least, as far as his receiving ability. And then you have San Diego, which really, last week epitomized the way they've been in the last season or so, is that they could put up a lot of points, but their defense can't do anything. They squandered a lead against New Orleans. The Saints came back and won late. And really, this could be a similar game in the sense that they're going to put up a lot of points, but they're still not going to win. You got two of these teams, really, they have all great offenses. The defense is not so great. It is at Oakland. Oakland is still the better team right now, and I do like the Raiders to win this one at home. San Diego is 1-9 in the last 10 on the road, so I think that does speak volumes. I'm going to take Oakland to win at home. Now, the next game, well, here's an interesting game. Okay, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win at home over the New York Giants. Now, the Green Bay Packers have the #1 run defense in the NFL in terms of yards allowed per game. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers, 15 and 4 in prime time. And you look at the New York Giants. The Giants remind me, they're almost like this dilapidated building that just keeps losing a piece. They're just every week they just seem to be falling apart a little bit more. And now the Giants with Odell Beckham, obviously they're in some trouble. Now, I don't know. Odell Beckham had a career low receiving yards last week. It was either 23 or 32, I think. And really, with him, I do feel because I think maybe there's something going on, possibly in his personal life. Maybe that's causing some kind of emotional turmoil, and evidently maybe letting him it might be impacting his performance on the field is what I'm thinking, possibly. But whatever it is, I do hope that he gets, and I don't mean this in any derogatory way, just factually, I do hope that he does get the assistance that he needs, and it's not just about something that would be advantageous for the Giants to be playing better as a team, but just for him as an individual, just so he can have his peace of mind, whatever is going on with him, and prayerfully, he will get that assistance, that guidance, and he just has to, maybe it's about, if he hasn't yet, it's about acknowledging that there might be some issue or something that he has to deal with. But anyway, that being said, this is on the road. The Giants only have 4 sacks on the season. If they can't get to Aaron Rodgers, is obviously going to have a problem in this game, and it will be to their detriment. I do like the Green Bay Packers to win this one at home. Now, last but not least, well, here's another toilet bowl game. Carolina at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who would think right now that Carolina would be 1-3? And at this juncture of the season, is this some Super Bowl loser hangover they're going through? Maybe it is. Now, but my feeling in this game, the Carolina does have the better offense than Tampa Bay. I think Carolina's averaging like 27-point-something points per game, while Tampa Bay is only averaging 19.3 points per game. And they are essentially a turnover machine. They have given up 51 points as a result of their turnovers, and that is obviously not very good. I think that could be possible difference in this game. I think what's going to happen is Carolina likely will win the turnover battle against Tampa Bay. They have a little better offense than Tampa Bay. They are at home, and I think you're going to see Carolina will have some urgency in this one, being 1-3 right now. This is a team that went 15-1 last season. They were the Super Bowl loser. They did make it to the Super Bowl, and at this point, I saw some stat on ESPN. If I'm not mistaken, ESPN.com, it said that you only have like a 14% chance to make the playoffs based on what teams have done in the past. Only 14% of teams that started 1-3 made the postseason. So, and they are 1-3 right now. So if they go 1-4, obviously that percentage even goes down. So I do like Carolina to win this game. Tampa Bay, and with quarterback Jameis Winston, he's going to have to figure out how to stop turning the ball over. And if he can do that, in this game they have a shot. They had a very impressive first win against Atlanta, and they just been floundering ever since. And I do like Carolina to win this one. Maybe competitive game, but I think the Carolina Panthers still win it. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment for Week 5 of the 2016 NFL season. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.